Welcome back to the Final Fantasy VII Remake, and we're just going to finish off the last few remaining little quests that we have to do in and around the slums.
Provided I survive long enough. Then again, if I could survive an encounter with a Tonberry, I can survive anything.
Not to mention a Behemoth too.
Yeah, I have to tell you though, this has been great.
It's kind of funny. In the original Final Fantasy VII game, Behemoth only showed up for the final dungeon, pretty much. It's interesting. Well, okay, no, not really. Some of the first Behemoth shows up. The first couple of Behemoths shows up for the Return to Midgar at the end of these two. The Northern Crater as the King Behemoth variant, I think. But it is compensated by some of the original enemies, like, Tank Ceratop in Gongava. Again, that's the interesting thing about 7. While it does have some of the traditional Final Fantasy enemies that we all know and love and hate, in the case of the more dangerous ones, some of its original designs managed to be memorable just by how abstract or by abstract they look or how, they behave in battle.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, Joe. I'll still take Tonberries over Emerald Weapon.
Really?
Emerald Weapon, well, to be fair, Joe, it's partially my fault because it is one thing, but it didn't show in my original run. Emerald Weapon is a bit tricky because you need to approach it leveled up enough, but with less material possible, because one of its attack, Air Time Store, basically inflict damage depending on how much material do you have, which is, detrimental.
The only real way of beating that boss in a way that's like, okay, now I'm definitely prepared to beat it without a doubt, because that boss is so full of cheap stuff that enforces you to handicap yourself in such a way it becomes really troublesome. So the only way about it is to use the correct materials to make sure you can spam Knights of the Round over and over and over and over, not allow Emerald Weapon to.
And by the time you got Knights of the Round, well, you're
basically unstoppable. Anyway, let's see how things are at Corneo's Palace.
Don't worry, Cloud, you don't have to play dress up.
Again.
No, that actually begs the question too. If they do put in Knights of the Round at some point in this remake project, how will it work?
Maybe they'll show up as, a legion
I've seen potential for doing their actual boss fight in Final Fantasy XIV Heavensward. Yes, you actually do get to fight them, and it's very painful, as you can imagine. So I do see potential in them, but if the summon system is kept like it is in this game, I can definitely see pretty much all of the potential summon being implemented in some capacity. There are ways to adapt them without sacrificing too much.
I wonder, do you think they'll change up the style of Emerald Weapon, or do you think that they'll retain that stupid mechanic of the more material you have?
I'm pretty confident they will have to change the environment so you don't have to actually fight underwater, because the original game had the excuse that, you're transported in an area where people can fight with a time limit. So I guess the way we can rework it in some kind of fashion, it's like Seed develops a technology that allows the submarine to project a bubble area that only lasts for the 20-minute timer that the original game had, so something like that. Basically, Jova, the thing is, they can provide an easy in-game excuse for some of the mechanics that the original game had. I do believe it's not too hard, to come around as a concept.
I wonder what they'll do for the safer Sephiroth boss fight in that regard.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't really like Barrett's
close quarter combat weapon,
because his best feature is being able to do more long range stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But with the battering ram, not so much. And it's really easy. It's really easy to miss with this thing, so I'm not going to use this for very long.
Anyway,
no, actually, it's for the better Dwibs. I do believe two of Barrett's weapon are better. For Barrett, it's better to stick with the ranged options.
Anyway, with Tifa's new gloves, you gave her Wolverine claws.
Yeah, the Mayfield Crawls, they were two-part also in the original game. Here we just have, less Wolverine claws. The original they were really that long.
Tifa now has the ability to gouge out the eyes of her enemy.
Sneaked.
Indeed.
Hello? Is anybody here?
No, they definitely retooled the Emerald Weapon boss battle in particular, Joe, because the Emerald Weapon boss battle is programmed in such odds against you that's so unfair that you basically have to cheat. You have to basically come up with a cheating strategy with materia in order to properly beat it. Really.
Jeez, what the heck happened here? It looks like somebody beat someone over with a chair in there.
It's just your imagination, Cloud. Keep moving.
Huh. What the heck happened while I was having the night with the dawn?
That'd be a twist. If all this time Aerith was a figment of their imagination.
He's got a gun!
Yeah, seriously, like, how threatening are you?
Long time no see.
Long time no see.
I guess some tradition don't die in localization.
It's actually been a while since we've heard that line in anything, though, to be fair.
At this point, it's just kept for nostalgia.
Teo, even Zootopia had this line, so at this point, it's just something that people like saying, I guess.
So,
like a slang.
Most common in Japanese media. Then.
So, Leslie, what are you doing?
You serious? Leslie's actually going to help us.
Well, what's your price?
Follow me.
All your your
hair gel.
Let's just say he has personal reasons for helping us.
Just hear him out.
Yeah, to be
if
honest,
he was going to try to do so right now.
Yeah, I'm with Cloud on this one. It's 3 against 1, and he's not exactly on par with just one of them. So
not only that, but he did help them out in the past.
If he wanted to kill Cloud, he would have done that right there and there.
Unfinished.
So yeah, Leslie has actually been pretty considerate and put us at a ladder where the entrance of the sewer is.
Back into the sewers with you?
Great.
I wonder what that unfinished business may be.
Corneo's hidey hole. That's where I'm headed.
Oh.
You're not gonna try to screw us over, are you?
If that's what you think, walk away. I'll find somebody else to work with.
Well, he's honest at least.
Another way to get topside. All right, we're in.
Say what?
So yeah, there
You
you
don't
go.
speak for me, asshole.
There you go. Cloud's very pragmatic about this.
Yeah, no betrayals.
He means it.
Also, Tifa apparently is a human lie detector.
We've climbed down.
Well, actually, there's remember, Leslie helped out Aerith and Tifa back in chapter 9.
Actually, I do believe that with that line, Tifa was referring to what Cloud was said. Betray us and die.
Yeah.
No, well, I don't know. Like,
I always thought it was referring to Leslie.
No.
I actually need to receive this scene for the Italian text to see if the Japanese one was different.
It really feels like more like she's saying it as a follow-up to what Cloud's saying.
Like to say, look, he's not joking. Like.
Yeah, especially since she's giving the worried look, which, she probably wouldn't be, if she was trying to comply what Leslie was saying. Like,
Also, didn't she say it directly after what Cloud said?
Yeah, that too. Prayer materia.
Prayer materia. If I'm going to be honest, I don't particularly care much for the prayer materia, really.
Are you sure? We maxed out. It's basically a free of MPs. The all healing, basically.
That's the thing. The problem is, Teo, it requires quite a lot of ATB. Like, and
that's why it's perfectly suited for Barret.
Well, I get that. It's
Fair
just
point.
that. I guess my main issue is that I kind of prefer when it comes to. I much prefer using the HP absorption material combined with other.
There we are. Now I've got all the power of fire.
And also, you gave the deadly dodge material to Barret.
This can only end well.
Yeah, well, I mean, just because you're a big guy doesn't mean you can't doesn't mean you can't dodge well.
No, I know, but just saying it's more effective with Cloud, especially since you prefer to play as him.
Okay.
Is it sad that I get more comfort in the sewers than I do in this room?
No.
It's a trap for the Don's enemies.
This room's probably more slimy than the sewers.
Because that's where
I hope they clean regularly.
Yes, Cloud, because that's where half the Final Fantasy fandom thinks.
Oh God. Poor Cloud.
Well, it's Final Fantasy. What thing about Final Fantasy isn't divisive?
Final Fantasy IX is not. Final Fantasy IX is not divisive.
I'm trying to think. I do believe even stuff like the Chocobo's physical appearance may be divisive to some, like people who prefer one take over another.
I mean, back when the Final Fantasy IX did first came out, people who got into the series via 7 were a bit weirded out by the sudden change. But nowadays, most people prop up Final Fantasy IX as the masterpiece that it is, really.
Is 9 the one that's a little more cartoony?
Yes.
Like in terms
It's a return to the Final Fantasy 6, 5, 4 days. Sure.
I'll actually explain a bit more after the cutscene's over.
It puts more of a medieval and steampunk theme on things.
I'll explain after this bit's done.
Yeah.
I don't trust you and I don't like you.
You don't really like many people, Barrett.
Well, Barrett is a person that you need to, work with to warm you up. So.
Yeah, Barrett, you can just slowly run that thing into his face.
Sounds a lot tougher than you'd think.
This cutscene probably would have worked better if I hadn't have a gun.
You, on the other hand, shouldn't have any.
So yeah, I kind of inadvertently reduced this cutscene's impact.
Let's get this over with.
Don't
fine.
give yourself too much credit.
All right, so basically, Shiori, back in around 2000, people who got into the Final Fantasy series 7 and 8 were used to the game's more futuristic look, or in 7's case, more steampunk. So 9 being all cartoony like the older games was kind of a bit of a kind of came off more like whiplash to them.
Nowadays, if there's any controversy...
It didn't help that. It didn't help that 7 was the first Final Fantasy to release in Europe. So obviously Europeans had it worse when it comes to that kind of thing.
I mean, I can imagine back then all the confusion. Like, well, hello Europe, you're getting your first Final Fantasy game, the 7th one.
Dwibs, I'll take that over what the localizers tried to do in America by calling 4.2 and 6.3, because it's on the long run it just proved to be what it was, a lie.
I mean, hell, the Japanese are gonna most likely the Japanese are gonna know how it feels when Crash Bandicoot 4 version 2 comes out, because they next their Crash Bandicoot 4.
You were saying, Jova?
Yeah, nowadays, if there's any controversy with 9, it mainly has to do with some of the story decisions, maybe a bit of that. Apparently people don't like the 2 jesters from what I hear. Some people
Zon and Torn?
Yeah, apparently they're kind of scrappy from what I can gather from the fan consensus. Me personally, I'm fine with them, but apparently a lot of people are annoyed by them. There's a lot of people who discuss, did we really need to have you-know-who as the final boss?
Especially by quoting Yoda from Star Wars Episode 1.
No. Necron in general is...
an afterthought.
No, that's the thing too. Cloud of Darkness was kind of an afterthought in a lot of ways as well. The problem is that Necron... Okay, so here's the thing. Back in the... Like I've said before, back in the NES days... Go ahead.
Basically, let me put it like this. The first half of 9, you're pretty much going off with the mentality that, this evil queen is the main bad guy. Then it turns out later, oh no, Kuja's the one behind her. So okay, you think Kuja's our main villain, right? Well, actually, no, not quite. I mean, sure, he gets there to practically it, but then it turns out there was this uber bigger bad guy called Necron who... honestly, doesn't really leave that much of an impact. Let me put it like this. It's like,
also a bit tricky because it is technically another part spirit of the void, the plane of existence that sort of connects all the games, into a sort of multiverse. So it sadly is a bit important for the grander scheme of things, but he has barely any foreshadowing.
To put this into perspective, it's like if Sephiroth, the absolute big bad Sephiroth, at the last minute got replaced by I don't know, an evil Moogle or something at the very end.
That's a bit. Necron, for all intents and purposes, pretty much comes out of nowhere at the end there. Yes, I know that there's slight foreshadowing because of his involvement with the Lifa Tree boss.
Not just that, I did think I did mention once, Pedro, but if you go back, supposedly the foreshadowing comes in the element of the eyes. Basically, as soon as from the beginning of the game, pretty much, as soon as you get into Dali's village, you see there's a lot of eye symbolism, and that supposedly should represent Necron, because when you actually see the model, he is blind, but he's kind of like Bill Cipher, he's seeing through the real world thanks to the symbols that are put.
That is some of the most obtuse foreshadowing I've ever heard of.
And it's something that the game should have explained better, which it does not.
Again, it's one of those cases where Sakaguchi should have realized, look, Sakaguchi-san, not every game needs to end with a super monstrous, big boss. You can just have Kuja be the final boss. That's okay.
Not just that, like, have Kuja hold out. Is that really that difficult to do?
Well, hey, if 9 gets a remake, maybe they could do something.
That's the thing, though. Like Theo just explained, Necron is important for the multiverse larger context of the series.
Well, that's simple, Pedro. With a remake, they can foreshadowing better, you know?
Yeah. Oh wait, I have a better idea. Maybe for the remake, have him merge with Kuja so that Kuja still retains his significance, because...
Oh, like in Fair Fence.
Well, as much as I hate to admit it, 9's ending really did Kuja dirty. Like, here again, like I said, it's like if you had Sephiroth pretty much just get jobbed by this other guy who comes out of nowhere, which would be an absolute big no-no considering the lengths to where he went. Like, Kuja really got done dirty with his ending is like, oh, I guess I'll just die, and then there's Necron here. It's like, it kind of undermines
Also, I'm a good guy now, bye.
Yeah.
It doesn't help that the boss itself is cheap as fuck.
Well, it basically is Neo X that 2.0, basically. It bombards you with all kinds of shit like Grand Cross. So.
Like I was saying, what was acceptable in the NES era will not necessarily be as acceptable in the PS1 era. I mean, you'd think by that point, like, I wish it would have been over this kind of stuff.
But the thing is that 9 also has a couple... For my country, 9 was pretty much instantly beloved thanks to the localization, but also the presentation. My country is no stranger to basically being very accepting, all kinds of different media from the other countries, not just animes in general. So something that had the presentation that at least I see this way. 9 has the presentation between the aesthetic, the art style, and the music, if you pay attention for no one to score, of a sort of a storybook that's been told through a carousel. Because the music tracks use a lot of the carousel instruments, and the art style reminds of a fairy tale book properly. So there is that kind of aesthetic. My country, between that and the localization, instantly loved it. So it wasn't really much of a problem. Keep in mind that 8 manages to be more nostalgic because it was the first ever title localized in multi-5, including Italian. So there was that. But 9 still manages to be on equal ground at the very least.
I know you personally don't like it too, but that's the thing.
I actually haven't checked how closer it is to the Japanese script, so I don't know if the Italian translation of 9 is similar. Keep in mind, 9 contains a couple of elements that, depending on the country you ask, you will always get a different answer, like Queen, I don't know how to pronounce Queena's gender. Yes, that's actually a contentious point.
I'd just go with Queena being a she.
My country, my country states the same, so I guess I'll have to go with that.
Jova, did you just assume Queena's gender?
So someone unfortunately had to, but I promise by the time we actually get to the game, I'll do the research that I need to on the wiki.
Oh, hello, doggy.
Yeah.
Again, remember that dog logo for the ending. That's going to be important for later.
Well, the dog is important without that, Jova. It's kind of a little bit of world building.
Well, it's not just that, but also has to do with what, you know that certain thing.
Mm-hmm.
No, I know that. It's just that even without that ending scene, it's still important for the world building.
It's a sort of an arc symbol,
Mm-hmm.
Come on, Barry. We just did 2 steps. Jeez.
All this weird camera spinning. So all this weird camera spins. Did Yuffie secretly direct this game? Because considering she's not.
She gets seasick though.
And then Cloud channels Tails for a second. Oh, my head's spinning.
Can I ask you something? Why did you help us out before?
Oh boy, time to play a game of cat and mouse.
Because I already have lost everything.
That really it?
And I couldn't bring myself to let it happen again.
Oh.
Huh?
It doesn't matter. Let's go.
I get
Alright.
I sense backstory on the horizon.
Leslie. The last. That's another thing. I know it's like this in the original game, but having played through this one, well, not all the way, but Tifa's got a very good knack for getting people to spill their secrets. I guess that's why her last name's Locke.
Barrett, why did you stand there?
God damn it.
Poison.
Cloud loves to play in the water.
No, it was Barrett who stand there doing nothing while the poison was corroding him.
I guess.
Yeah,
really
if I could
just...
slap Barrett, I would.
Clark
Yeah,
can take
you
care
were
of
saying,
himself.
Dwibs?
Clark can take care of himself too.
Apparently Barrett did not instead, that's what I meant.
Yeah, he's
Getting
talking
close
about
to Corneo's
Barrett.
hideout. From here on, I'll take the lead.
But yeah,
Leslie, slow down.
No.
He's a man on a mission, Dwibs.
Also, wait a minute. I want to buy a new song.
Fine.
I'm not sure what song this is based off.
The Crazy Motorcycle Chaser.
yeah.
Oh, wait till you guys hear the crazy motorcycle chase remix
Leslie,
of this game.
wait a second. I need to sit down.
Fine.
We're kind of in the middle of something, but
I've been running all day and I'm tired. I gotta carry this heavy ass sword on my back.
Also
whose fault is
boxes.
that?
It was part of my job.
Well, according to the story, Shiroi by proxy and
So
Gio.
how are we supposed to get topside?
Through here.
Ah, good old Angio. May you rest in the heavens with your idiocy.
Sorry,
Not to
guys.
mention Cloud. You're thanks to your Mako.
Oh no, it's the padding monster.
It's like a rainbow of ugly.
You literally just got
You
headbutted.
piece of shit.
Oh, it's a monster who only exists to pad out the game. It's the stuff of nightmares.
Get him!
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. At least the ghost stuff kind of tells us a little bit more about Aerith. All this does is just
Well, it will serve to get him to spill the beans about his backstory, right?
Not just that, it also tutorializes what the boss of this Revenge of the Sewer will be.
Nah, I don't know. You probably could have done that later on in this bit without having it.
I guess it's a point of contention. Me personally, though, this is one I'm more fine with.
Just wish it wasn't the fucking sewers.
I know, right?
There, by it.
Seriously, it even knows how to climb, too?
This thing is agile. Not just that, if you have noticed, that thing is like a puppy version of the boss that we faced in the sewers, the Abs. It's called, I think, Abzu Shot. That's what it's called. There you go.
Oh, great.
So
it's
there's the thing.
reproducing.
That's the sink in. This monster can reproduce, and in large quantities too, because there's a fuck ton of these
That one
adorable
can't.
things.
And apparently asexually, too, unless he has a mate.
Well, considering it's a sort of a monster, oh, you're just taunting us.
Oh, now
Considering
you are
it's a
going to
monster-
get it.
I'm surprised it's not like the Spyro where the villains that steal your eggs again.
Yeah, the
But
egg
considering
snatchers.
it's a monster mutated by, Mako poisoning, aka radiation, it's kind of easy to think the fact that, it can reproduce this actually.
Wow, the one time I actually kind of had somewhat of a good time using Barrett's ball, pretty much.
Oh yeah, the battering ram move is cool. It's just not
It
as
does a lot of
practical.
damage, but you need to connect it properly. That's the ticket.
Yeah, that's why I prefer. That's why I prefer Barrett's gun.
I believe the trope is awesome but impractical.
Never in doubt.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not really that awesome, then, is it?
Well, no.
Sometimes depends. So in some cases, it may be awesome by being cool looking by design. Oh, for fuck's sake.
Okay, this guy is getting sliced and diced more ways than he can count.
Well, if he gets sliced and diced, then he can't count, can he?
He can count from the afterlife.
If we keep the hand still intact, maybe he can.
Again,
Yeah, you just won't be able to count with. You only have 5 fingers to count with.
Just remember, guys, everything we kill eventually becomes one with the live stream because it disappears in a green glow.
True.
So in a way, we're fueling the live stream.
You're doing a service to the planet.
Exactly.
Have a clap.
Don't worry, I'm sure.
That sounded more like a slap, Dwibs.
Don't worry, I'm sure it'll save our lives some way, somehow, eventually from a giant meteor.
Nah, I reckon when you're nearly done, the planet will be like, hey, wait a minute, did you commit mass murder? You know what, fuck you.
Well, yeah, that's the doubt. That's the kind of doubt that plagues the original game. Pretty much, Bugenhagen tells you as soon as you meet him the fact that the planet doesn't give really a shit about humanity. It just gives about being in a good shape, and that's using its own standards,
Like how
so there's a constant doubt about the fact that if Holy gets activated and Meteor repelled, what will disappear? Maybe potentially the entire mankind race, and that's why the ending of the original game is left sort of ambiguous. Yes, there's the scene with Red 13 and his, these children, but that only tells that maybe something may have survived or maybe not, So there was this kind of ambiguity left to it.
It's
saying,
sort of
No, I wasn't going to say anything. Although one thing I will say, you mentioned ambiguity. To me, that can be a depending on the work of fiction, it can be a double-edged sword. It can either be, a good way of keeping your viewers you're hooked and curious as to what's going to happen next, or it can just be used to cover up the fact that you're being listened.
Well, of course, Dwibs, that requires a competent writer.
Newsflash. Things can be done badly, but they can also be done well. Thank you, Dwibs. Thank you for enlightening us.
That one's the most. I swear that one's the most egregious example of that.
Anyway, like I was saying, but yeah, that just goes back to why, Sephiroth's plan was literally to damage the planet Earth enough so much that it would overuse live stream to the point where it would allow him to control it and literally ride the planet through the cosmos.
Okay, time to do something similar to what in the original game they did to Yuffie. The other party members will basically position themselves, and Cloud will help corner this fucking thing.
I wonder if this is a little sneak peek at what will come to play in Little
So wait,
Wutai.
you've turned into this creature? Oh god.
Oh, fuck.
Give it back! You've turned this game into basically a game of tag. Get back here.
There you go, no more running around.
I was going to say, this is not what I expected on my resume.
Oh my god, you've got concentration. That should help you. Now I'm going to burn this fuck. As soon as I get enough.
Roast to the monster.
You're gonna use a summon on him?
I need more HP first. The summon bar hasn't shown up yet.
True that. I meant, when it does show up, though.
Well, I don't know, maybe. Well, although how's a giant monster gonna fit in?
They'll find a way. They always find a way.
There we go.
It's gonna be like bloody Ridley and Smash Brothers.
All cranked down.
Yeah, Ridley had to cut off his limbs just so he could fit in the game.
You had to take a cut for it, literally.
Look at that! Even that monster returns to life.
All right, so what is it?
Give it back.
Please.
Say please.
Yeah, say please, arsehole.
That's not a key.
Awkward.
That's not your pendant either.
None of your business.
Were they family?
No.
It was all just a dream.
Oh, his fiance.
But one day, no. Time to wake up and forget.
That's nice.
Oh.
And you're probably wondering, why would a fiance leave a nice guy like Leslie?
On that day, Corneo picked her as a bride.
Yep.
And next, she vanished.
Corneo
You can imagine
proposes.
what happened to her.
Before she did, she
Corneo
came back.
got bored, dumped her down, and well,
Thing cost me a small fortune.
yeah, one thing led to another.
Why did you?
So he kept that for the memory.
So consider this. Leslie's been working for the man who pretty much killed the love of his life.
Yeah, but
He's been secretly planning his revenge.
Yeah, he has been biding his time, and now it's time to strike because it's personal.
And mind you, he doesn't even want vengeance on Corneo, no. He wants revenge on the beast itself, because Corneo's pretty much long gone by now.
Well, maybe not. Who knows, Jova?
I mean, as far as anyone knows at this point.
Oh,
There you go,
see,
there you
he
go.
cares.
See, Dwibs? He just needs to warm up to people.
I know a
That's all.
shortcut. Follow me.
Well,
I guess.
The boy was a bit rude by not picking out like that.
I feel
Hang
so
on, I need,
nice. I feel so nice that we know each other.
Sorry,
more.
Cloud just needed to sort out his box fix.
Well, Barrett has never been exactly a beacon of politeness. That's not really how his character works.
Corneo's mine and mine
I
alone.
mean, he can be
There you
polite
go.
when he gets to know a person.
Okay, actually,
He's nothing
don't
on
climb the
other
ladder
side.
just yet. I just
Yep.
got one more thing to sort out.
Pull the lever, Cloud.
And then the whole thing collapses on him. You see, this is where we complete the Corneo's secret stash side quest from Alaska.
You know what's the
So-
interesting thing?
All we got to do is just go back there and collect the last of his stuff. Anyway, yes, Pedro?
You know what's the interesting thing? I did this game in the same way I did in No 22, instance that the moment side quests get available, I immediately do them before moving on to the main story. However, as this is demonstrated right now, you need to go into this main chapter in order to finish particular side quests. So it became quite the. Eventually, I had to look up and see what was doing wrong. Oh, you need to first do this just so that the sewers will open back up. Oh, of course.
It's a case
Like-
where you can kill two birds with one stone: side quest and main quest.
True. I do think, however, that this side quest should have been open after finishing this chapter rather than being open before it, though.
I suppose the idea of it was to help the pacing.
Oh,
Oh,
snap.
shit.
You
It's not
guys
just
again.
a Sahagin, a
wow,
Sahagin priest.
damn Corneo, you are not making this easy for. Alright,
When does
let's
he
burn
end?
these assholes.
Alright, and Cloud has been turned into a frog.
Right when I was about to use my power.
Quick, Tifa, kiss me. That
Oh.
usually works.
No!
Yeah, that actually does work more often than not. Oh wait, I'm okay now.
Guys, I told you, I'm not shipping Cloud with anybody.
Told you about the frog spears, bro. I told you, dog.
If future games do have a sort of a little romance mechanic, then maybe I'll have Cloud paired up with some.
Well, that
Although I'm
depends.
keeping that a secret.
Well, that depends on who's doing the other parts, anyways. Like, we may or may not have it be like each person gets a different fraction
Well,
of the
The
remake.
parts will actually have to be announced and actually come out in the first place, please. So
that
one
too,
step at a
yeah.
time.
Then if the games keep track of your progress, wouldn't it be better if I just do them?
And we'll see.
All in due time, Waves, for the
All in
time
due
being,
time.
let's just focus on turning Cloud back to human.
Seriously, I'm a frog again.
Oh, Cloud has to kiss himself to.
That is physically impossible, Dwibs.
Wow, Cloud, you're so narcissistic. you can kiss yourself.
No,
That's
I can't.
amazing.
I literally can't when I'm a frog. It's physically impossible.
Of course you can. Cloud, you can carry a giant sword on your back and not get a backache.
No, literally, a frog's mouth cannot really kiss.
And now an emerald tiara. So we have tiaras that are ruby, diamond, and emerald.
Oh boy.
No, we're not going to get a Steven Universe Final Fantasy.
Actually, it's a reference to the weapons.
Yeah. Shame you can't actually visually wear them.
Alright, let's take the rest of his stuff. I know it's technically theft, but it's Don Corneo we're stealing from.
Yeah.
Not like these around to debate.
Quickly going...
Enfeeblement ring. This one, I think, actually is connected to the frog debuff. But go on, Pedro.
Quickly going back to the Necron / Cloud of Darkness topic. I know you personally don't like it, Teo, but personally, I've always interpreted the White Witch edition as a unique take on that thing, in the sense that the party members, as usual, are not aware of the super secret final boss, but the player is. So I personally thought that was a kind of a unique way to execute that kind of thing.
Wait,
actually,
are you talking
didn't
about
have a problem
Necron or
with
Cloud
that.
of Darkness?
Remember, the potential problem that I had with that was the fact that you didn't get to fight the Zodiarchy in very human-like form.
Oh, okay, sure, okay.
Pretty.
But regardless, my point is, like, I personally felt that was a very unique way of achieving the same trope, but at the same time putting I actually really like that particular take. Like, the player is aware of the boss coming from the very beginning. It's just the characters are not.
Well, again, it worked better with Cloud of Darkness than it did with Necron. Let's be honest.
Remember, Jova, not really. The Cloud of Darkness is only basically dumped onto you, because remember, until the point where she shows up, because it's more of an amorphous entity.
But Teo, it's clearly
supposed to be the main
represented as
villain, and then as soon as you confront him, it's like, oh, because I'm a petty bitch, I'm gonna dump these extra onto your face, and it literally kills you. Not even joking.
I mean,
and then you need to get better into dealing with it.
Why do you guys keep falling back?
I mean, Teo, Cloud of Darkness literally is a woman in physical form at this point.
Oh, sorry, Jova, you cut it off for a second. Can you repeat?
Cloud of Darkness is literally a woman in physical form at this point, so you might as well just call
I
it
know,
she.
but it's still like a godlike entity. So remember, it only assumes a shape when there is unbalance to the world, because there was technically a cloud of light at some point, and one of the costumes in the City of Duodecim actually refers to that. I think they brought that back from NT.
If there's one thing
so there is that. The problem with Jova is simply put a lack of world building that 3 didn't really have, even with the 3D upgrade.
And that's why most people just call her a she, because she's that, like, if there's
it's more easy that way with Jova. That's it.
Even that being said, I would regard Necron in the worst case as like just a weird big-lipped alligator moment. To be honest, I don't think.
Oh, it is.
Fortunately, it just it doesn't really ruin anything.
It also has the fact that it introduces out of nowhere the quote-unquote mechanic that you need to choose your party members, and the one that you don't basically sacrifices themselves to help you up.
Alright, so while we wait outside, like he asked us, let's pilfer. Buy some stuff here.
Yeah, this is actually a vending machine, but in a place that nobody cares about. Can't we just mash it and get the gills?
Nope, we apparently have to pay for it for some reason.
So even though Cloud left Soldier, he still believes in the in
capitalism.
No. Apparently, Cloud runs on the honor system, amazingly to a fault.
Mm-hmm. Also, Teo,
ask Zuko how much honor for him.
Honor intensifies. Go on, Pedro.
Also, Teo, that's the thing too. I'll still take that over what 8 did, where it picks your party for you at random.
Not just that. As soon as you get KO'd, if you don't revive them instantly, they get permanently sent off to the Shadow Realm.
Yeah.
Because that's nice.
Especially because, as put very put it very well in his finale. You basically need Squall for that final boss. So basically, pray and hope the game picks Squall for you.
All right. So I guess
well, see you in the next part where we. Yeah, well, we confront Corneo and permanently sort out the remainder of the side quests, and so we'll see you then.
See ya.
See ya.
See ya.